I understand entirely how pensioners phone and text this show, your show as well, and they say things like, I've never broken the law, I've never asked for Jack, I brought my kids up, I've done everything correctly and I've paid my taxes, and I see prisoners being released, being put in...
What Nigel Farage said could change the future of the country. He told the truth about migration policy and what Starmer had been hiding for a long time. He puts the interests of migrants above ours and constantly manipulates us. Farage revealed shocking details about what is going on in the Labour Party. You haven't seen this before. This scandal could lead to the resignation of the government.
One that can be carried out. You see, words can be empty, can't they? And Rwanda was empty because, don't forget, there was an aeroplane on the tarmac about to take the first batch to Rwanda when at 10 p.m. and one obscure, unnamed, so-called judge, probably, likely, someone not even legally trained, if you can believe it, from the European Court of Human Rights said, oh, no, you can't go doing things like that. And guess what? They all got off the plane and nobody was sent to Rwanda against their will. So you have to be able to make threats, but carry them out.
This is a nightmare. By the way, you know that the government did not deport an illegal Iranian rapist to his homeland because of the risk of his execution in Iran for being a convicted rapist. I'm terrified. After he served his sentence, the authorities were going to deport the criminal to his homeland, but he appealed. He insisted that he could be sentenced to death if he returned to Iran. And recall that such a crime in Islamic Iran carries the death penalty. The government has given a life hack to all illegal migrants in our country, and he will also be fed for free in prison. Starmer refused to deport the migrants to their homeland. According to the opinion, this scheme is not viable. The first flight from London was cancelled at the last moment. The reason was the numerous lawsuits filed by lawyers of migrants, demanding that their deportation be recognized as illegal. In recent years, many illegal migrants have come to us from the countries of the Middle East, Syria, Afghanistan, Iraq and Yemen. Migrants avoided deportation from the UK by simply changing hotel rooms. Attempts to find them had to be stopped due to a shortage of labour.
I understand entirely how pensioners phone and text this show, your show as well, and they say things like, I've never broken the law, I've never asked for Jack, I brought my kids up, I've done everything correctly and I've paid my taxes, and I see prisoners being released, being put in 4-star hotels. I see illegal migrants who, by the way, might have escaped a war-torn country, but they ain't got their wife and kids with them. They're in a hotel as well, and suddenly me, a good old British voter, a good old person who hasn't broken the law, feels like a 5th-class citizen. It's not good enough.
Our nursing homes are running out of funds for quality food and medical care. Against this background, the authorities are finding enough money to accommodate the newly arrived migrants in hotels. Elderly people are served poor food for breakfast due to lack of funds, but there is always money for migrants. Elderly people in wheelchairs are thrown out on the street, and 90-year-olds are denied a place in nursing homes. This is happening at the same time that the government has spent tens of millions on accommodating migrants in good hotels. The migration policy has completely failed. The protesters are attacking the hotels where migrants are housed because it's all unfair.
That young males who, by the way, throw their iPhones and their passports into the channel, and I filmed this myself being out there on a small boat, they chuck them into the sea at the 12-mile line. Do you know they're given a new iPhone as soon as they get to Dover?
God.
No, I'm not making this up, I promise you. Everything's free. They get 40 quid a week fag money. I mean, the whole thing's unbelievable. So it's about fairness.
It's a nightmare. Migrants are throwing their mobile phones into the water, while we don't have money for basic necessities. Migration is a very expensive taxi for criminal gangs. Groups of visitors attack us in droves, beat us up, and are not afraid of the police at all. Starmer ordered the creation of an army of former officers, but the paradox is that it will fight against us because migrants have privileges. Usually the government likes to blame the people for everything that happens in the country, not the migrants in themselves.
4,000 of them could freeze to death this winter. You're parading yourself getting £25,000 worth of freebies when you've got a mansion in Islington, you've got a free house now at number 10, your wife earns this, you earn that, you've got a big pension from being Director of Public Prosecutions. It's farcical. Talk about losing touch in 12 weeks. I don't think even people who voted for them are thinking they're doing a good job. I mean, it's whoever is advising Sir Keir Starmer is doing an appalling job.
Truth is, he was never in touch.
When Starmer first became Prime Minister, many probably thought that he would say what we have long dreamed of. And then, instead, he manages to tire most people with a stream of dull, memorized, previously rehearsed platitudes, the most exciting elements of which were lies and gaffes. It's impossible to listen to Starmer, he's very boring. Starmer and his friends who are mired in accusations of venality and hypocrisy because they received thousands of pounds worth of free gifts. Add to that their decision to cut winter fuel subsidies for millions of retirees. He repeatedly said that he had everything under control, but then it turned out that Sue Gray actually earns more than him from the taxpayer's pocket. And when he finally decided on a brutal refusal to pay for winter fuel, he told us all that it would be better under Labour. How stupid. If this is his approach to such serious problems, then he is even more out of touch with reality than we feared.
Truth is, he wasn't voted for on a wave of optimism. Truth is, the election was an anti-Tory vote because they frankly betrayed their own voters.
Yeah.
This is a loveless government. 1/3 of the vote, 2/3 of the seats. It's going wrong. The wheels are coming off already. And I repeat the point, if ever we're going to have a moment of real change in politics, it'll happen in the next 2 or 3 years.
Talking about other parties, I don't know why I'm doing this, because I think they're the most useless thing since God created. I mean, I thought everything was proven by the fact that the Liberal Democrats, who I still don't know what they damn well stand for, apart from their leader seems to be on some sort of mission to throw himself down a mountain in whatever he's wearing that day.
It has been obvious for many years that Keir Starmer is a very unreliable person and that all his principles are petty and hypocritical. He brazenly distorts the facts and treats us callously. His low approval ratings are justified as much as possible.
Donald J. Trump, second assassination attempt over the weekend at the golf course, AK-47, the FBI reporting on that. Have you managed to speak to Donald? Have you had any conversations with him, Nigel?
Yes, I have. I don't bombard him with phone calls. He's a very busy man. But I did ring him. On Monday evening just to say, hey, mate, I'm really sorry. This is awful. How are you bearing up? He put a brave face on it and, made a joke of it about the putty to hold on the 5th and all that sort of thing. Was very interested in the restrictions on free speech that are happening in the UK.
Freedom of speech is being destroyed in universities. Dangerous topics have appeared in the field of higher education on which there cannot be two opinions. Among them are racial diversity, the choice of gender identity, and condemnation of Russia in Ukraine. Britain has a problem with freedom of speech. It is not recommended to study difficult ideas, even where such research should be in full swing, at universities and in the traditionally progressive fields of art and publishing. But these areas exist in order to expand knowledge and stimulate discussions, not to hinder them. Yet even science is not immune to this. Scientific activity is suppressed if its conclusions and inclusion. Books are censored or not published at all, and scientists are intimidated and expelled from institutions. After the events of the 7th of numerous events, where it was supposed to discuss the war between Israel and Hamas, were cancelled on university campuses due to complaints and threats. The government is afraid that people will start discussing sensitive issues because it may offend someone. I believe that you should not be afraid to talk about it just because it will be unpleasant for someone. However, this does not mean at all that it is possible to switch to insults and incitement to hatred. There should be a norm everywhere. Talking about Trump, it is important to say that the man who wanted to harm Trump walked around the golf club for more than 12 hours where the US presidential candidate was playing at that time, and they noticed him only at the last moment. This criminal literally found a hole in the security system, a section of fence through which the golf course is perfectly visible. Photographers regularly use such a gap, so special agents generally stopped paying attention to it. However, the fact that Trump is once again just lucky to be alive surprises me. He's very lucky. What do you think about this video? I am waiting for your comments. See you.